This morning I'm going to be looking at building a table to hold the rabbit cage and their boxes. My intention is actually to model it after these sawhorses. Probably 3 sets of legs, this style, with cross supports and 1, maybe 2 boards going across in between just to help support and hold everything structurally. So I'm gonna have a little bit of playing just so I can get some of the measuring correct, and that's pretty much where I'm starting my day off. Okay. Alright, it is not finished yet, but I figured I would check in and show the progress that I've made so far. I still need to run a couple of boards across, diagonals in the back, and these boards are not secured. I just wanted to get rough measurement for actually holding the boxes where I want them to be. And then I'm going to run some boards in here just to level it and stabilize it a little bit more. And I'm in debate on running one right down this, just alleviate a little bit of the pressure on it. And then I've got to cut out the holes where the burrow boxes are actually going to be resting, which I don't think I actually want that dead center. Or not dead center, but close enough to center. But I'll have to get those holes cut, everything lined up, and by the time I'm done with this, it's going to take more than just me to move it. But did model it after the sawhorses that Mr. Brown walked me through on building. So by the time I'm done, it will be pretty, it'll resemble them greatly. But like I said, I just wanted to check in, show what I've gotten done so far. Well, this is a little bit of a sneak peek. I'm not done yet. I still have to cut out the holes and figure out how exactly I'm going to secure the rabbit's boxes to the caging. But that's a pretty good idea as to what it's going to look like when it's completely done. The table setup is almost done now. The only thing that's got me in debate at the moment, and it's not so much debate, I'm gonna do it. I don't care for this big of an opening underneath. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to run another board in the center of this. That way if something happens and anything tries to shift, I'm covered. I also have to figure out if I'm actually going to try and physically attach the cages and the boxes to the table, or if I want to try and do something that's more temporary. That way, should the time come, anything needs changed out or replaced or, well, upgraded, I have the ability to do so without having to disassemble absolutely everything or scrap this entire project and start from scratch. But I believe that I have actually made everything at an easily accessible size for Gary Ann and Bryn to both be able to get into the boxes if they need to, which honestly was the biggest concern in the height, because unfortunately I have like 9 inches on Gary Ann, so and long arms, so my ability to get in and out of things is a little bit different. So trying to keep them in mind. But it's coming along nicely. Well, Mr. Brown came home and helped me out. We now have these boards right here attached to the cage so that the rabbits aren't trying to get over the bent wire and edging that I couldn't really get rid of. While he was working on that, I was working on that, which I still need to put a floating latch on so it can actually be pinned back and maintained open. But that'll allow any of the mothers to have a little bit more room by conjoining 2 of the openings so that her and the babies have enough space. Only thing that I haven't done, which I'm not going to do in the Quonset hut, is I'm actually going to take a piece of wire, wrap it in here, string it around, and affix it to the other side, just for the sake of keeping the box more or less attached. Just under their own weight there, I don't see them going anywhere, but that'll keep anything from bumping it and knocking it loose. And I've gone through and filed down the edging from where I clipped it with my pliers, left burrs, trying to avoid doing that to anybody else. But now I need to go and get Seth and hopefully get this down to the barn, piece by piece, but I'm gonna go see what he's into and go from there. Okay. I've used a piece of, I believe it's 16 gauge wire to hold the boxes in place. Kept the cage openings facing forward towards the chicks, the boxes towards the door, cut down on any of the wind that might come through. And this is where we're at. Everything is set up and moved down. Now this little one isn't going to be the only rabbit in the barn. So, there we have it.
All right, everybody. So Mr. Brown brought home a couple of beef roasts and a pork loin to brine and then smoke. And we've made the brine and it's cooled some, so now we're going to pour the brine over the meat. This is a food grade bucket. The brine is, go ahead. The brine is 1 cup of salt, because there's 10 pounds of meat. And then 2 teaspoons of the Anthony's #1 curing salt. So. That should be fine.
Is the meat floating?
No, the meat is not floating. That is just about the perfect amount of water for that bucket. I think we did a pretty good job there.
Yeah.
So, we now have our meat in the brine. It'll be in there for how long?
Till we get the ham.
I don't know how long. We'll see. But